Hey guys, it's Deena, your mindset evolutionary here today to discuss are Blacks still in mental slavery? And how can we get freedom from this? How can we emancipate ourselves from this if this is the case, if we decide today that this is the case? Um, I am going to do a little promotion while I wait for people to get in here. I see the numbers going up. Hi, everybody. Go ahead and say hi in the chat. I just want to make sure it's working. And please feel free to start putting your comments. Happy Saturday, Zuri Zawadi. Welcome to FlyNubianQueen.com, the network for melanated women and some men, just like me and you. Let's see. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe, and share this video. Today, we are going to continue to follow up a little bit of what we discussed last week, which was touching on resiliency. So I was kind of touching on cultivating feminine resilience, survival and recovery. That was last week's topic. And we touched on psychological resilience, the ability to mentally or emotionally cope with a crisis or to return to pre-crisis status quickly. Resilience exists when the person uses mental processes and behaviors in promoting personal assets, and we know assets from previous videos are things of value. Or that can increase value or grow value, and protecting self from the potential negative effects of stressors. Okay, so psychological resilience is the ability to mentally or emotionally cope with a crisis or to return to pre-crisis status quickly. So if we're talking about getting free from mental slavery or emotional emancipation, as the lovely Dr. Cheryl Tawede Grills kind of, I guess, coined that phrase, so to speak, in her TED Talk, which I'm going to be referencing shortly. Also, I want to remind you guys, what is psychological space? What is psychological space? Dissatisfaction can lead to anger. So, sorry, that diminishes psychological space. What is psychological space? It's going to be acceptance of your present situation, seeing it clearly, acknowledging the present, so being present. Self-validation and praise to identify and congratulate yourself on the little things that you have accomplished in your journey. And encouragement that you are moving forward in what you are accomplishing. So keep those two things in mind. I don't know if you guys have a notebook or anything, if you're interested in taking a few notes here. This is going to be a really good talk, I hope, especially with your comments and concerns. So first, the question: are Blacks still in mental slavery? What say ye? Linda Tate says, hello. We have happy Saturday from Linda Tate and Zuri Zawadi. I don't see any comments yet, but I see people there. Keep liking, keep subscribing, keep sharing so we can get a big audience here. Right now we have a handful of people, and I appreciate you guys for spending this Saturday afternoon with me, Deena Jacobs, your mindset evolutionary here at FlyNubianQueen.com. I love you guys so much. Okay, so since I don't have any comments yet pertaining to the question, are Blacks still in mental slavery? Let me just jump right in. So I hope you guys had an opportunity. I did post a link a little earlier today about with a video on Emancipation from Mental Slavery by Dr. Cheryl Tawede Grills. It's a TEDxCulverCity TED Talk. And let's play a clip from her, okay? Defining emotional slavery. So for the sake of this conversation, mental and emotional slavery are going to go hand in hand, okay? So here we go.
The Association of Black Psychologists, where I was surrounded by colleagues who looked like me and who were dedicated to the liberation of the African mind the empowerment of the African character, and the illumination of the African spirit. And so, as a graduate student, I became a member, and many years later, I was elected national president. I was preparing to challenge the lie of Black inferiority. It was shortly before I began my term as president in 2011 that Community Healing Network and its founder and president, Enola Aird, asked for ABCI's help. You see, back in 2006, CHN had pinpointed the lie of Black inferiority as the root cause of the devaluing of Black lives.
Did you hear that, people? The lie of Black inferiority is the root cause, according to Dr. Grills, of our mental slavery, our mental and emotional slavery. The lie of Black inferiority. And that is something that is seated deeply into our subconscious minds. And I would even say the mind of the Black community. Okay. As a community of women, Black women, not women of color, but American descendants of slavery women, right? As a community, you know that I like to come and speak to us as a community of women, but also I want to speak to us individually as women. Let's be honest. Do we hold? Do I hold? Do you hold? Does the community in general hold what Dr. Cheryl Tawede Grills deems as the lie of Black inferiority? She's saying that the lie of Black inferiority is the root cause of devaluing Black lives. What do we mean by devaluing Black lives? We had a movement called Black Lives Matter that quickly got devalued, might I add, in my opinion, by being taken over and redirected away from adding value to the lives of Black people and got focused on some stuff elsewhere. That we know there was some infiltrating factors that went into that, but that's kind of an example, right, of how we can be up here on our conscious thinking, but there's still something down here on our subconscious that is allowing such things to happen, where people and groups can come in and infiltrate our movements towards Black self-love. So how are we enforcing or reinforcing or caught up still in mental slavery? Let me see if you guys had a chance to comment yet. Denise Butler says, yeah, I think she's answering the question, are Blacks still in mental slavery? Dean Beeman says hello. And Craig Smith says, your skin is beautiful. Hi, Dean, and thank you so much, Craig. Melanation. I love being melanated, and I love to tan too. I love getting darker and enjoying the benefits of a little vitamin D on my skin whenever I can. But I digress. So the lie, according to Dr. Cheryl, is that Blacks are inferior. Do we hold that on a subconscious level? I want to hear from you guys. We have a handful of people in here, but it's a good group. So I want to hear, do you personally, and I'm talking about search the depths of your soul, do you personally hold, or do we as a community, and please specify that in your comments, do we hold a subconscious ideology, thought, belief, paradigm, which we're going to get into? What is a paradigm? Do we hold on to an ideation of Black inferiority in our community? And that can be manifested in so many ways, from how we conduct ourselves in public. And if we look at some of our entertainers, what we are rewarded for, it can also be in a silent sort of thinking in conversations that we have with each other. I can definitely say that I have been guilty, right? I am no better than anyone. When I'm bringing these topics to you, I'm bringing them to you so that you and I in the community can talk them through, discuss them, and work them out, hopefully together. Because as I am presenting these things to you, I'm gaining something from my interaction with you. And repetition is the father of these things. I research for, prepared to bring these topics to you. The more I am learning and I'm reprogramming my subconscious mind. And so I put them in a video form here for you guys to be able to go back and look at them again and again if you're getting something from them that you feel is helping you, and to share them in the community, right? Because we are here to free ourselves, right? As a community of women, we are here to free ourselves, then our immediate families, our children, and then the whole of the community, right? That's what this is about. So we're looking at Black inferiority as the root cause of devaluing Black lives, according to this lady. Now, going back just a little bit, she is a member, or was a member. Now, this video is from July 27th of 2015, and that's an important date. I want you guys to remember July 27th, or just remember the year 2015, because there's a call to action that was put out in this video, and they wanted to see certain amount of action take place by 2019. And here we are in 2019. And I would love for us to talk about how far we have gotten with this call to action, because I'm going to be honest with you. This is the first time I am seeing this particular TED Talk, and it's because of my research for this topic. Are Blacks still in mental slavery? And the video is going to be titled Freedom from Mental Slavery. Part 1, because in this particular part, we're going to dig into what this is, and we're going to touch on some of the ways to get out of it. But that is a very deep and long discussion that I want to bring you guys into in part 2, and hopefully I will have a guest, an expert, to talk to you about that. So the truth, the lie is Black inferiority. The truth is, and I quote, "In response to the many injustices of racism, Black people can protest and march. We can sign petitions. We can weep. But until we confront and work hard to overturn and overcome from the lie of Black inferiority, which is our mental slavery, we will not change this world that so profoundly devalues Black lives." Okay, and this is from the Community Healing Network founder. I do not know her name, and I was looking for it online. She says it a couple times in the video, but I'm not exactly sure how to spell it, but I think it's Enola Air. I'm not sure how you spell it, but I think she says Enola Air. So maybe someone, if you guys can do a little quick Google search and see if you can find her from the Community Healing Network. She is quoted by Dr. Grills in this video, right? So let's break this down a little bit. Until we confront and work hard to overturn and overcome from the lie of Black inferiority, we will not change this world. And by the world, I'm going to say we will not change our community. And let's bring it in closer. We will not change our family. Let's bring it in closer. We're not going to change our children. And then we're going to bring it even closer. We ain't going to be able to change ourselves. And we're not going to be able to free our inner spirit, our mind, our emotions. All of that is entwined into our spirit. We will not be able to get free until we change our own subconscious, until we break those shackles subconsciously and shift and change our subconscious mind. If we are believing as a people, as a community of women, that we are inferior in any way to anyone outside, and that goes for you individually. If you believe as an individual that you are inferior to anyone in any way impossible. That is a problem. And you owe it to yourself as a woman, in particular as a Black woman, as an American descendant of slave, to free yourself, emancipate yourself from believing that anything about you as a Black woman is inferior. Today we are going to let that go. We're going to release that energy. And I am going to show you guys how we're going to release that energy. It's going to be through something called a paradigm shift. And so you know me, Miss Deena Jacobs, we like to get into the semantics of things. But before I do, I just want to say thank you guys so much for being here with me today on FlyNubianQueen.com, the network for melanated women just like you and me and some guys. If you haven't already, we have to know how to manage our money, grow our money, and make my money work hard for me. Make your money work hard for you too. If we want to enslave anything, we want it to be that money, that check, right? So you should go to FlyNubianQueenMoney.com. And if you want to grow a business, start a business, kind of curious about how businesses work, you should go to FlyNubianBusiness.com. If you haven't already, check us out on iTunes, FlyNubianQueen.com, and our other platform where this video will re-air as a recorded video. You can watch us on YouTube, FlyNubianQueen.com, FlyNubianQueen. Thank you to Dr. Boyce for allowing me to be a part of this platform. I'm so proud, so happy to be here with you guys. We're going to get back into the topic. Let me check in with some comments before I get into the definitions. Dean Beeman says, yes, I think we have the need to be loved by others that don't care for us as much, like a form of Stockholm syndrome or something. I would agree with that. Mark A.F. Green, it is not great accomplishment to be well adjusted to a profoundly sick society. I'm just saying. I agree with that. El Segundo Thomas, we are being held back by people who look like us. You know what? The person who holds you back, El Segundo Thomas, is you. Okay? And I know this is going to be some kind of radical thing that I'm talking about here. But when we really think about not allow anyone or anything to hold them back from the vision that they held in their mind, from MLK to Malcolm X to Nelson Mandela to Jesse Owens to LeBron James to whoever you want to name in whatever field, Harriet Tubman, Frederick Douglass, Nat Turner. Some of these people got murdered. Some of these people got assassinated. Even the founders of the Black Lives Movement who were down in Ferguson. I'm talking about those people who got killed. Nothing stood in their way once they decided that they were going to move forward. You know why? Because they enacted their inner will and they broke the chains of the mentality of thinking that they were less than whatever, simply because they had melanin. They were melanated people who were descendants of slaves. We have to free ourselves from the mental slavery because we are here, we're moving through life, and we are free. We're perceived as physically being free. Right? We can come and go as we please. We can work whatever kind of jobs we want. We can change our looks. We can do this. We can say stuff to white people. We can, we can talk crazy if we want to. We have all of this perceived outer freedom. But where are the most powerful and most challenging, in some ways, chains to get rid of? These chains. We enact our free will. And we're going to enact our free will that is God-given by becoming creative, in the sense that we are going to shift our paradigms What is a paradigm? We're about to get into it. Let's look at what Miss Catherine Freeman says. Yes, my experience with other Black women since school days of Black girls in gangs coming at me 6-on-1 and with brass knuckles to cause serious and deadly harm. And even today find grown Black women quick to want to fight me because of my presence. I guess they have been trying to devalue my energy or my existence. Catherine Freeman. Freeman is your last name. You are here to free yourself first, then your family, then your community, then the world, right? We as a people are the ones who will free this world, this universe. Because in our enslavement, how great we really are, our creativity, our connectedness with the Creator, is part of what is not allowing this world and society to elevate. It has always been us. From the beginning, creating, looking to the stars, mapping things, creating all kinds of things in health, in medicine, in fitness, in cultivating nature to work with us, not against us, to feed us, to grow us, to create all kinds of spiritual practices to connect us with the Creator, the animals, the earth. Look, we know this about ourselves, but now it's time to fully and completely embrace it. So I can identify with you, Catherine Freeman. When I was a young girl, I grew up in an art gallery. Many people know this about me. I grew up in an art gallery with my family. My parents were artists. Yes, they were both Black. Okay. And we grew up in DC, Chocolate City. And we grew up around other Black people who were amazing and gifted and talented and successful and smart, educated, and held great jobs and had their own companies. We grew up seeing this in DC. And a lot of you know that DC is one of the, in the suburbs of DC and Maryland, PG County, Montgomery County, and DC proper, not so much anymore, did hold some of the greatest wealth, Black wealth in recent times. The concentration of Black wealth, education, and community. I don't know what you might want to say with that, but DC was one of those places at the top of the list. And so I saw all kinds of Black people doing all kinds of things. However, when I was young, very, very young, I experienced very similar things because I spoke proper English, because I understood art, because I was encouraged to be creative and think outside the box. I was picked on as a child by my peers of Black people. Not by the different people who came in the art gallery to see the art that my parents had selected and curated. It wasn't by the white folks or the Asians or the older or the younger. It was by my own people. Other young Black kids who, we lived in a neighborhood that was a little bit low income at the time. Even though we were living in a house right across the street was the projects. People from DC know how that is. You can be on one side of the street and it'll be wealth, and then the other side will be projects. That's kind of how DC is because it's a very small city. But I was teased. I was picked on because I was different, because I thought outside the box. This is a form of mental enslavement, community enslavement of each other, holding each other back from being different, telling each other that we must conform. You're sounding white if you want to be educated. You're sounding white if you want to speak proper. You're sounding white if you want to think, go off and travel and experience other lands and cultures outside of your neighborhood. That's what I was told when I was trying to travel and study abroad, and I ended up living in Australia for 2 years approximately. I was told, why would you as a Black woman ever want to go there? There's none of us there. Because I wanted to explore. I wanted to see what things were like outside of America and see who I am reflected through the eyes of others outside of America. Explore myself, find myself, and have more freedom. And that's what I'm talking about, the paradigm shift that we are getting ready to have. Let's get into it. The goal, right, is to shift the paradigm. What is a paradigm? A paradigm is a noun, right? According to Google, it's a typical example or pattern of something. It's a model. Now, according to Bob Proctor, and now, yes, Bob Proctor is a white man. I know you guys probably remember him from the documentary The Secret. But what we're not going to do is just look at because he's white or whatever like that. Oh, he doesn't have anything to say. What is he talking about? He actually is one of the foremost authorities as far as I know. Now, you guys might be able to pull up some Black folks before him that were talking about these same things, maybe in different terms, and I would love to see that. But right now, we're going to go with Bob Proctor's definition of paradigm. And he's saying it's a set of habits that are programmed into the subconscious mind that control our behavior. Now, he has some good techniques that I'm going to get into in the latter half of this video. But right now, I want you to let that sink in. What is a paradigm? A paradigm is a set of habits that are programmed. By programming, we mean what? We mean ingrained. We mean impressed upon. We mean it goes into the autopilot, like it's like you're just doing things out of habit. It becomes a habit that's programmed into our subconscious. What is the subconscious mind? The subconscious is the connection to your spirit, your emotions. It's a very, very complicated yet simple concept. You have your conscious mind. These are the things you're thinking about as you have a thought. Oh, okay, I like that color. Oh, she got on a pretty dress. He fine. Oh, I wonder if he's single. I like the taste of that. I have a headache. All those little things, those are your conscious mind. But there are habits and principles that are guiding us that are deeply ingrained, typically from childhood. Deeply ingrained from childhood. And they have argued in psychology that these things are nearly unchangeable because they're so deeply ingrained in people. But you know what? The Creator gave us something called free will. And when we want to enact our free will, we can shift and we can change nearly anything. That is the power of the subconscious mind. That is the power of the will. If we get in there, and as women, we know we are allowed to change our minds, right? We change our minds all the time, from one second to the next. I like that. No, I don't. I change my mind. I don't like that no more. That is us. We are flexible. We are changeable. So this is going to start, as I always tell you, it's going to start with us. Men tend to be a little more rigid, as that serves their ultimate purpose better. As for us, we have been gifted with an enormous amount of flexibility. So when we see a man who has changed, we need to celebrate him because they don't go through the change. Change is in our nature. We're changing from puberty, then every month we got to change, then we change when we have a baby, then we change when we go through menopause. Women are used to changing often, frequently, right? Men, not so much. They go through puberty. That's a crazy, painful time for them. And they're not trying to go through no more changes after that, typically. But that's just my assessment. No shade on the guys. I know you can do it. You have a lot of strength and will in you as well. So I know you men are capable of amazing change in your lives. And we've seen that through some of our past and present leaders. So getting back into the paradigm, right? We're going to change, right? We're going to shift a set of habits that are programmed. We're going to pull those out of the subconscious mind, right? And we're going to shift our behavior as a result of changing, creating, forming new habits, breaking old habits. We're going to reprogram ourselves in order to free ourselves from mental slavery. Now, one of the number one indicators to me has been our use of the word nigga. If you really look into the history of the word nigger, you will see that a group of people trying to reclaim and reappropriate a word that has all that negative energy is a little bit too much beyond Black girl magic for me. Because it has so much negative connotation. There hasn't been any psychological space in our collective community to get us past this. Do you understand what I'm saying? So if you look at it, to me, the use of the word nigga is one of the biggest indicators of our collective mental slavery, our collective emotional slavery, that we can call each other that word and now even have other people calling us that word outside of the community and be almost numb to the implications of that. There's nothing, I've said this before, I don't care what people try to say, how they want to justify it. There is nothing positive that is indicated, implicated, or insinuated when someone calls you a nigga. Period. There's nothing positive about it. I don't care if you try to say, oh, that's my nigga, that's my dog. Think about it. You're relegating that person to something of a lower status, a nigga, not a man, a nigga. And then you're also equating them to something even lower, an animal, which is a dog. Let's just be real about that. That is the shifting of the paradigm. So let's get into this a little bit deeper. What does it mean to shift, right? Shift is a verb. Now, I know you're like, Deena, we know what shift is, but I always like to put us on the same page. Thank you guys for all the hearts, the thumbs up, and the love. Y'all feeling this. I knew you would feel me. I knew you would feel me because you guys are my people. This is coming through me. This is coming through me. And I'm just so happy to be a vessel. I'm happy to be a vessel. So shift, verb, move or cause to move from one place to another, especially over a small distance, right? Shift. So we're going to shift our subconscious mind. We're going to shift the habits, break the old habits, bring in the new habits, right? As a noun, shift means a slight change in position, direction, or tendency. So in the past, in the present, as we're creating psychological space, we're realizing where we are. As a community of people, as a community of women, we are having a tendency towards feeding into stereotypical imagery of ourselves, the Jezebel, the Mammy, okay, the Sapphire, aka the angry Black woman. Why are we as a group of women supporting things like reality TV, stereotyping, cooning, shenanigans, where we're seeing Black women fighting and acting nasty and pulling and beating on each other? No camaraderie, no sisterhood, backstabbing. The worst images we could even begin to fathom about ourselves, we're sitting up here feeding into it and supporting it on a daily basis. Sounds like mental slavery to me. But I don't know. What do you think? What are your thoughts? That we are supporting. Now, some of us are starting to wake up, right? But we're supporting these images of ourselves. Cookie on Empire. Yeah, I used to watch it. But we all knew. And now as we are waking up and we're starting to unite in this movement forward for reparations and for other things that we are due, long overdue, the main thing that we are overdue is granting ourselves mental and emotional emancipation, freedom. We are the only people who can set ourselves free from that. It's not up to them. It's up to us. It's up to you, my sisters. It's up to you, my queens. It's up to you, my darling, beautiful, wonderful Black woman. It is up to us. It's up to me. That's why I'm here. It is up to us at an individual level to free ourselves from the mental and emotional slavery. And I am here to point us in the direction as much as I possibly can, along with the help of many, many others, to help us see how do we begin to move forward. How do we change and shift our paradigms? How do we change our habits and our behaviors? And I've been talking to you about this since day one in my videos when I said and posed the question, is thought culture a form of femininity? And if it is, do we want that to be our brand? we're waking up. Okay, let's hear from this sister a little bit more, because this is my first time hearing about her. She was the former president of the Association of Black Psychologists. She has a PhD, and she is trying to move us forward in some ways. So I'm going to see if I can get a hold of this sister. If anyone knows her, this is Dr. Cheryl Tawede Grills. She is definitely one of our thought leaders in this area, if you ask me. This video only has 102,000 views. We need to go on a campaign to share this link all over the place, okay? So let's get into that. Let's see what this sister has to say in her second quote. Let's hear from the expert. We are here to shift our paradigm, aka free ourselves from mental and emotional bondage.
At some point, that lie is no longer out there. It's in here. And it becomes internalized.
That is the lie of Black inferiority. That's what she's discussing right now. The lie of Black inferiority is no longer out there. We blaming white folks. We blaming other communities. We blaming the system. We blaming supremacy. At some point, we have to admit it's no longer out there. It's in here. It's in here. Everything that is out without is within. For my spiritual people, my hoteps, okay? If you really want to get into it, we know what is above is also below. What is outer is also inner. Let's get deep.
Coloring your thoughts, feelings, expectations, and actions. It hides in the nooks and crannies of life, and I know this all too well. For example, on my way to Ferguson, I'm standing at the counter at the airport, waiting for my connecting flight. Up walks this short, petite, confident Black woman in the captain's uniform, and she's about to fly the plane I'm waiting to board. And before I could hide from my own implicit associations, my brain said, whoa, wait a minute. Where's my white male pilot? I shocked myself. I said, Cheryl, how could you? Ergo, the need for emotional emancipation.
So did you hear what the sister said? She said that she caught her as woke as she was back in when was Ferguson happened? I think it was 2014, 2015. As woke as she was on the way to the protest. She caught herself. She caught herself projecting feelings of inferiority onto a Black female pilot. And she teared up a little bit. When you go watch that video, she felt some kind of way about it, because she understood that if she was feeling that way about that woman, she was also internalizing this to herself, because what is without is within. What is above is below. So if all the creative energy in the universe to make this wonderful world, this existence, the matrix, whatever you want to call it, earth, consciousness, if that is above, that energy is also below. If it is without, it is also within. We are some of the most powerful beings in this universe, the original man and woman. So what we have to do is call the devil a liar. We have to declare the devil is a lie, like the old church ladies, and say, I allow myself to change my subconscious mind. We're getting into affirmations. So if you have a pen, you have a paper, you have a phone, smartphone, you can go take some notes. We're getting into affirmations because you know I never like to come to you guys and present a problem without also presenting some solutions. That is part of my mission as a woman, period, is to always seek solutions and be solution oriented. So we're going to get into this affirmation. What is an affirmation? It is positive self-talk. How do we talk to ourselves? As we listen to our sister, Dr. Grills, talk about that moment of truth when she realized, I want you guys to tap into yourselves and find that moment of truth where you realize that there's some self-hate inside of you. There's still some shackles on your brain of what you believe that you can do. That's why I have talked to you guys before. And I said, do not allow anyone outside of you. And don't you ever dare to believe that being Black is a double negative. If anything, honey, it is a triple, quadruple positive in everything that we have in our souls. The lineage that we have come down from, the greatness, the fact that the sun absolutely adores us. When I see Black women, I'm gonna give y'all an example. I'm outside sometimes. I live in Cali. It is very sunny. It is hot here. It is dry. It is a desert. And I come from DC, which is a hot, humid environment. It's swampy. So I'm used to, the moisture in the air, just feeding my skin and, frizzing my hair a little bit, but it's all good, right? Because I'm still beautiful. But I'm used to being fed by that moisture. You come out here, and in particular, the sun. I've always loved the sun. I've never been afraid of the sun, and I've always loved to tan. You see, I have a little bit of a tan right now because I was laying out on the beach. I meet so many Black women here who are even more beautifully and wonderfully melanated than me. And I love dark skin. That's one of the reasons I tan, is because I like to get as black and chocolate as I can, because I feel like I just look pretty. Not to mention the vitamin D infusion that we all need that boosts our immune system. Don't let these people fool you. The sun feeds us. And I will meet sisters out here who are covered up with a hat, putting on a whole bunch of sunscreen. And I'm like, sister girl, what you doing? Girl, I hate the sun. Are you white? Because how in the world could you hate something that feeds us, that gives us power, that gives us vibrational energy, that just energizes us on a lot of different levels? We have melanin. Melanin feeds into our immune system. It keeps us functioning at a very high level. It's part of what gives us our resilience. How we were able to make it through, our ancestors, how we were able to work, how we were able to be creative, how we were able to bounce back and make a song about what we dealing with out in the fields, in the outhouse, the back house, the big house. How do you think we were able to do all of that, to build this amazing yet crazy nation called the United States of America? How do you think we were able to do that? A big part of that was through our melanin. And our melanin is our direct connection where we get information and from source energy, the creator, the sun, the universe. Like, how could you be a dark-skinned woman talking about, girl, I hate the sun? Mental slavery. That is what that is. That is mental slavery. And I am free from that form of mental slavery because I love the sun. I'm dealing with other forms of mental slavery that I'm trying to get through and that we're going to work through in these next few series of videos. Right, sisters? Right, queens? Let me take a moment real quick and say, thank you so much. I love you guys so much for being here with me and sharing with me in this moment. I see the likes, I see the subscribes, I see the shares. If you haven't, take a moment to subscribe to flynubianqueen.com here on Facebook. Normally, Deena Jacobs, I go. I'm your mindset evolutionary, Deena Jacobs. Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me here. Normally, I'm here at 7 p.m. Pacific time on Sunday nights. I'm trying to look for a more convenient time. So if you guys want to hit me up on Instagram and give me some suggestions, I am going to run a little longer than usual on this particular video. I like to keep it around an hour, but I find that between an hour and 15 and an hour and 30 minutes is a much better time frame, so we can really get into stuff. I want to read more of your comments. So if you have a suggestion of a better time that I could do these videos to hit my people on the East, the West, as well as anywhere else in the world, I want to get more people involved and engaged in these videos because these videos are for you and me. But they're for the community so that we can start to unite around some ideas. And one thing I will always bring to you is solutions. I believe in solutions, and I'm here to nurture you in your movements forward. I'm here to love us through it. That's why we're all here, I think, is we're here to love each other through this. As a community of women, we are great at nurturing. We've nurtured everybody else, kids, and everybody else in the world and all this other stuff. It is time for us to nurture each other as women, as a community, our children, and of course our men. We have to nurture our men. But we have to nurture ourselves first. And that's what we're talking about here today. Are Blacks still in mental slavery, and how do we get out? Remember that movie, Get Out? That brother was speaking to us. Now, he might be married to a white woman, whatever, but that brother was speaking to us. He might be half white, but the black side of him was speaking to us. Okay, so we have to learn. That's another thing about mental slavery, is when we're getting caught up in things that are, surfacely, oh, he married to a white woman. Don't miss the forest for the trees. When somebody like a Byron Allen is fighting, okay, he's married to a white woman. All right, we feel some kind of way. However, his children are still black. Okay? And however, he is a black man, and some of the things that he is going through and fighting against will directly affect us as a community, even though we're not media mogul billionaires. Okay, so that's part of freeing ourselves and shifting our paradigms, not to always be distracted and stay focused. What is the point? Get to the bottom of it. Maybe I'm speaking to myself right now. So I'm going to move on. First, let me go ahead and read a couple more of these wonderful comments. Generally speaking, we have been taught to be inferior. Absolutely. Whenever we accomplish something major, impressive, it is us inadvertently measured to our counterparts, indirectly applying that others are better. We were always superior. Well, thank you for that comment, Dean Beeman. Victor Trammell. Hi, Deena. Great to see you. Great topic for your segment as well. Thank you so much, Victor. Here's my take. The ADOS people of the United States are definitely still in slavery from a mental standpoint. After Mitt Romney's unsuccessful 2012 presidential run, he was asked by a media outlet what he could have done to get more votes from people of color. I hate that term, by the way. I don't know how y'all feel about it, but we can talk about that in another video. He answered laughingly, I suppose if we had fried chicken at the GOTV events and poll stations, we might have gotten a little more of their votes. That came from Mitt Romney, according to Victor Trammell. Black people heard this and were absolutely outraged, but when Romney's inconvenient truth comes to power in the form of Popeye's fried chicken, marketing craze by blacks takes shape, those very same outraged people want critics to leave them alone. You can be mad about white supremacists like Romney telling you all that you're slaves. You can also engage in shameless coonery that financially empowers the white race in America, but you can't do both. I think that is part of our mental illness, Victor. If I could, comment on that. And thank you for that very in-depth comment. Keep those type of things coming from everybody. My take on it is thank you, and I agree with what you're pointing out, but I do think, not but, it's an and. I agree that we show a sort of like a bipolarism, if you will, in our mental slavery, right? Because unfortunately, a person who is enslaved is very easily manipulated. Right? Even think about it, if you think about in a BDSM, I think it is BDSM world, a slave is easily manipulated, right? That's the only way I know slavery, other than what the stories are from the past. But if you've ever seen a video like that, or any depiction of that, even in like a 50 Shades of Grey or whatever, that person is easily manipulated, and any little thing can kind of like throw them off. You know why? Because they're being dominated. And not just because they're being dominated outwardly by their master, they're being dominated internally by their own inner thoughts and feelings, which typically in a situation like that are guided by fear. False evidence appearing real. Hype. Popeye's chicken phenomenon was all about hype. Black people like fried chicken. So what? That in and of itself is not shameful. I'm not even going to say all the cooning and stuff was shameful, because we do want to remove some of the shame from different things that some of us are doing in our own emotional and mental and spiritual illness, right? We want to try to take away some of the shame so that we can get deeper into the subconscious mind and understand where that person's inner child needs to be freed and then nurtured. So what I'm saying here is that I see the slavery. I see what you're saying. I see the bipolarism, Victor. I'm not sure what we can do about it other than to take a look at ourselves and say, look, why get mad when white people talk about, here's a potential solution. I don't get mad if a white person says something to me about watermelon or chicken. I don't personally eat chicken anymore because I am plant-based. But I do still love watermelon. Watermelon is one of the most healthiest and hydrating foods. It has so many electrolytes in it. The seeds give you like a lot of immunity boost. There's so much to be thankful about eating a piece of watermelon. Yes, we love watermelon. I love watermelon. Black people love watermelon. They love fried chicken. There's nothing inherently shameful about that. It's our own feelings of inferiority, the shame, the vibrational energy of shame, and negativity of fear that makes it bad. That is where we are enslaved, thinking that we like something such as a watermelon that is good for us is something to be ashamed of. That is how you free yourself from mental slavery, by reforming the paradigm. I love watermelon. As a Black woman, so what? You cannot shame me about that. That's where the freedom comes in. I am not going to eat watermelon differently when I'm around white people or Black people. And let me tell you, I've been in situations before where they will break out some watermelon around some white folks, and I love watermelon and it is good and it's a hot day, and I will be like, oh my gosh, I am so glad they have watermelon. Yes, it's one of my favorite foods. So good for you. It's got all these electrolytes. And then some white woman will come over and be like, I love watermelon too. It's delicious. One of my favorite fruits. And they want to try to connect with me on that because they see I'm not ashamed. Okay? And it's not about whatever you may say, oh, she want to connect with white women. I like connecting with people, period. But one of the things I really enjoy about connecting with people is when I can connect with them from a very authentic place. A place where I am just doing me. And I'm happy and I'm free. Do you feel what I'm saying? So I am going to eat my piece of watermelon and be happy about it. And I'm going to eat, well, I'm not going to eat, but other people can eat their pieces of fried chicken and be happy about it. But they don't have to go out here and coon for it. That's a different thing. And that's where I can see what Victor is bringing up. When we have that shame around something, it causes us to act in a way that is habitual, habitual act. That's what we're talking about with a paradigm. It's a set of habits that is ingrained. So when they came out with this chicken sandwich, We have all this shame around the fact that we like chicken. So what do we immediately do from a place of inferiority? Is start cooning for it, right? Go get me some Popeye's chicken. I'm going to go line up and get me some chicken, right? That is something. That's where the shackles need to come off. You can go get some Popeye's chicken and enjoy a Popeye's chicken sandwich. There's nothing wrong with that. But you don't have to go out there and fight for it. You don't have to get online and start reacting in such a way that is proving your own mental enslavement by doing things that our ancestors were forced to do for a piece of fried chicken. They probably had to dance and shuffle and lie and scheme and fight and do all kinds of stuff just to get some good old-fashioned fried chicken that their mama or their sister was in the big house cooking. Think about these things. This is called generational curse. And right here today, we are getting into how we, as a community of Fly Nubian Queens, are going to break it. Because that's what we are here to do. That's what we are here to do, my wonderful, beautiful people. I love you guys so much. Now, thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And thank you for being open to your own path to healing. So, Miss Sabrina Wallace says yes. Catherine Freeman says you are so right about the energy of a word. If you just even look at your name, Catherine, you need to break that down and be a free woman. That's what you need to do. You need to meditate on that. I allow that I am free mentally and emotionally. Okay, so we were about to get into that, and then I jumped off into something else. I'm going to try not to do too much preaching, but as you can see, this just got me hype over here. It got me so hyped, so excited, and so in the moment with you guys. So again, thanks for being here. Let me read some more of your comments. Melissa Price says, yes, totally agree. Our thoughts control our actions. Side note, Doctor, you look like Chili from TLC, Beauty with Brains. Doctor, me? I'm not a doctor officially, but I appreciate, you putting that on me. Maybe that's supposed to be, maybe I'm supposed to go forward and get my doctorate. Although I have to say, those tuition bills, I don't know. But yeah, a lot of people have said that before, that I look like Chili from TLC. Beauty with Brains. Thank you. Big kiss to you, sis. Kenneth W. Franklin, no be happy. You are great. We are better. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Catherine Freeman, yes, I am totally aware of the energy. I think that's a repeat. I am going on a journey to learn who I am as a God. Yes, Catherine. Get in touch with that God energy inside of yourself. We all have some God energy in us. It's in our DNA. It's in our cells. I don't care how much these scientists want to break it down. They still can't get to what is that energy that is inside of us, that spirit. They can't feel it. They can't see it. You know why? Because it is all around us. It's in everything. It's not one little speck of something. It's everything. So that's right. You're on a journey to discover who you are as God. The will that is in us is God. The creative energy that is in us is God. A lot of Black women do not want to get darker. I've heard that. And I'm like, sister girls, being lighter skinned is not going to free you. As you can see by Michi X and Yvette Carnell, those sisters have stories to tell. They have stories to tell about things that they've been through. We have a lot of different people. I mean, even I bet you Meghan Markle, I think if I remember correctly, Meghan Markle had talked about briefly how, it felt being a mixed race girl, and then now she's married to the white prince or whatever. And people can feel some way about that. If they want to, that's fine. But let's look at some of these people and see how they're still connected to the community in some form of what they go through. Right? In order for her to even get to that point in life, she had to do a certain amount of freeing herself mentally and spiritually from the shackles to say, I'm a little Black girl from Compton. I can't do that. A prince? What is everybody going to say? she had to let that go to even be able to ascend to that. Now, whether you agree or disagree about, I know people have theories about evil and stuff going on with the royal family, etc. Hey, yes, there's some history there. We know that. But I'm talking about a woman, a black woman of mixed race who grew up with her mama in Compton or Crenshaw or somewhere in the south of LA, and she ascended to a royal status. That is what we as a people, we need to look at the strategies that people use and get away from the distractions, because that's where a lot of times I think a lot of this racial stuff that goes on is stuff that has been planted in our community. Stuff that most of us aren't even thinking about. And they go out and they make these little social media things, just like with the Popeyes thing. There's a little bit of a conspiracy theory going around that Popeyes hired a couple of social media influencers, and boom, now we have a phenomenon. That is a part of our society. So now that we know that that is a tactic that they're using in this chess game called life, we know how to move it by not getting distracted by every little thing. When we see Black people who have ascended and transcended in different ways, whether it be business, medicine, health, sports, financial, spiritual, we should be able, as a community, as individuals, as well as a community, to look at that person's story and dissect and take out the things that we can use on how they were able to free themselves mentally, spiritually, emotionally, to vision themselves beyond the constraints of quote unquote being Black, meaning Black inferiority. Because being Black in and of itself is a gift from God, in my opinion. Traveling around the world, I saw how much I was revered as a Black woman. And it wasn't just about my looks. Okay, yes, I look a certain way, but it wasn't just about that. It was about the energy and of who I am, what I'm descended from. People wanted to know all about me. Are you mixed? Do you have anything? Do you know your heritage? Do you know your lineage? They were so curious. And I don't find that curiosity to be racist. What I find it to be is genuine. They know who we are. They know we built this great nation. They know what we endured. And now we're still moving and we're still going. They know what we're up against. They know what we have inspired around the world from our particular movements, how other movements of people, LGBTs, Africans, Asians, even other Europeans have co-opted things from our movements to get and move themselves and their agendas forward. We know that. That's because we as a people are great. And we have to own that. If we're talking about, different things, like we've had the phrase going around back a few years ago, Black Girls Magic, and, melanin popping and all kinds of stuff. That's some movement in the right direction of freeing ourselves. One of the biggest things I'm going to say we need to free ourselves from is the use of the word nigga. Now, I'm not saying that I will never, ever use it again, because I am working on that. It is deeply ingrained. There was a point in time in my household, you could not use that word when we were kids growing up. And I don't know what shifted in our community. It was seen as a curse word to call someone a nigga. Something shifted, something changed, and I don't think it was with us. Honestly, I know a lot of our rappers wanted to claim that, they were trying to rebrand the term, but I really don't think that came from us. I think that was some slick trickery that was implanted and tapped into our subconscious by the system, through the music, through the imaging, through the movies. And somehow, unfortunately, we took it on. We put that chain around ourselves as a people. And we carried it I don't even want to be associated, but some of us carry it proudly. I'm a real. Do you know how many successful Black businessmen I've had dealings with? And it's not a lot of them, but there's like a section of them. I want to say maybe like 30% of them that I will encounter and talk to. And you get to talking about different things. You talk about stuff in the movement, and I'll hear these brothers be like, "Yeah, because I can put on this suit and tie, and I can go out here, I can make these moves, but I'm a real ass nigga." And I say, "No, you're not. You're a man." And they be like, "No, no, no. I mean, I feel what you're saying, but I'm trying to tell you that I'm a real nigga." And I'm like, "No, no, hold on, brother, hold on. What? You're a man. You're a king. You're a god. But what you are not, or what I'm trying to understand is why would you want to associate yourself as being a real ass nigga? That's not attractive to me in any kind of way. As a queen, as a Black woman, to call yourself a real ass nigga. That's a little scary to me, because I feel like a real ass nigga is unpredictable. I feel like a real ass nigga could one minute be an activist and the next minute be a coon. Basically, mostly niggas are coons. Niggas are Sambos. Niggas are the people who stab Nat Turner in the back. That's typically who niggas are. But a Black man, a Black king, a Black god, I feel like, I don't know, just semantically in terms of words, how we're using words and what the energy, the vibration that words bring, I feel more calm and stable. I feel like I can rely upon, a real Black man versus a real nigga, a real ass nigga. Because first of all, ass is in there, and the ass is a donkey, and the donkeys are unpredictable as hell. They'll kick you and throw you off and run away and do all kinds of stuff. And I'm thinking that's probably the same as most niggas. So again, we're talking about paradigm shifting here. That's what we're working on, is shifting paradigms. I done went off on a tangent. I am so sorry. I hope you guys forgive me. Anyway, I want to say thank you once again to the FlyNewBeingQueen.com platform for allowing me, Deena Jacobs, your mindset evolutionary, to be here every week and joining you typically on 7 p.m. Sunday nights. That's Western time, which is 10 p.m. Eastern time, East Coast time, usually on Sunday nights. So we're going to continue this conversation for a little while longer. It's 2:07 right now. We're going to probably wrap this up around 2:30-ish. So let me see what else my sister has to say, because she is getting into this, Dr. Cheryl Tawede Grills. And then we're going to listen to a video clip by Dr. Bob Proctor. Actually, is he a doctor? No, I don't think he is. Bob Proctor from The Secret, as you guys probably remember. He is going to talk to us about how you shift your mindset. That's going to be towards the last 10 minutes. So here we are getting back into the TED Talk, Emancipation from Mental Slavery, and we're listening to Dr. Cheryl Tawede Grills for educational purposes, of course.
These circles are gatherings in which...
Wait a minute, hold on. So what she's getting ready to talk about right now is the Community Healing Network came up with something that is called the Emotional Emancipation Circle. So circling back to the time that this video was put out was in 2015. Let's see what they're talking about in 2015 that they want to do in 2015.
Black people are invited to breathe freely so that we can think more clearly and begin the crucial work of replacing the lie of Black inferiority with the truth of Black humanity, as CHN puts it. And so my journey began. I went to Ferguson in the wake of the killing of Michael Brown.
Okay, so Black inferiority is the chain, the shackle of slavery. Our belief, our attachment to our own inferiority. Even if we don't think we personally, because I have been guilty of this, I think that I am an inferior Black person, but sometimes I've been guilty of looking down on other Black people. I can admit that, right? Those Black people, why they act like that? And what I've been trying to do lately is catch myself and shift and have compassion for my brothers and sisters and say, you know what? I know why they're acting like that. It's very tempting to shuck and jive, especially when it's going to get you something. That's a behavior that was learned back on the plantation. It was a survival skill. And we have to understand that a lot of us who are still alive, that are here today, that descended from slaves, just descended from some of the coons who had to shuck and jive and figure out creative ways to get through slavery. And maybe that's where some of the shame around slavery comes from. But I am here to tell you that we are in a new day. And maybe some of those ancestors fought, and some of them, the other ancestors, had to do what they had to do to survive, to be able to protect the young ones. Because if they stood up and got killed, maybe they weren't able to look out for some of the younger ones on the plantation. Maybe they wanted to stay alive with their wife. Maybe there was some other motivations. We were not alive in that time to be able to judge them. But all we know is that we descended from them. And so now what we do know is that we have some different choices to make in today's times. We can shift our paradigms. We can change our habits. A subconscious mind, although it is an enormous amount of will, we will take baby steps towards the shift in our collective subconscious mindset, and we will elevate ourselves out of the mindset of Black inferiority. I am proud to be an American descendant of slavery. When I see movies and I read stories and books about what our ancestors went through, does it hurt? Does it bother me in some kind of way? Does it make me feel emotional? Does it shake me up? Absolutely. But you know what it also does? It makes me proud and happy. And it makes me feel grateful that my ancestors survived it, and I am here. I am here to be able to speak to you, to be used as a vessel. There's a purpose we are here. There's a reason why you are here, why our particular ancestors survived. Enough preaching. I'm going to pull up my sister again. She has some more amazing things to say, or things to make us think. So right here, she's going to talk about media programming as a form of emotional trauma. Because where did these shackles come from? We know they came from the plantation, but how are they reinforced? How are they reinforced? Through media programming. It's not called, they're not even hiding it anymore. The music is called trap. The genre of music is not called rap anymore. It's not called hip hop. It's not called poetry. It's called trap. So it's in plain sight. Media, the media programming is continuing to whip us, traumatize us, enslave us.
Incidents regularly flashed on the evening news re-injure us, invoking centuries of degrading, psychically traumatizing pain. It's like walking barefoot on hot concrete. You gingerly pop your way through it, but it's painful.
You hear what that sister said?
Welcome to our world.
Did you hear what that queen said? Lenora, the sun also ages you, but I still love the sun. Some women don't want wrinkles. The sun does not age Black women if we are healthy and taking care of ourselves. Contrary to that, my experience, and this is my experience, Lenora, so we may have different experiences. You can see more wrinkles and more like blemishes and imperfections on my skin when I am lacking sun exposure. Typically, when I go get a tan and get super dark, all of a sudden my skin is tight, and all of a sudden you can't see any blemishes anymore, and I look like 10 years younger, like real talk, every single time. That's one of the reasons why I tan. I look younger. When I don't get enough sun, my skin starts to sag. I start to see more blemishes emerge. The sun is healing for us. The sun ages white people, but they want us to believe that because they know that we gain a lot of our energy from the sun. The sun is something they can't handle, but in very small doses. That is not true for us. If that was true, you wouldn't see all these beautiful dark-skinned people walking around looking like they're 20 when they're 85. Anyway, Ron, thank you for the knowledge. You're so welcome, my brother David Coulter. Hello, Chocolate. Hey. Hey, brother. Danny Stokes. Yes, ma'am. Monique Sandel says, I don't even eat fried chicken. We should, be moving away from that type of a diet in general. But for those of us who still enjoy to partake from time to time, or even hopefully not on an everyday basis, but if you are one of those people, don't be ashamed of it because you feel like a stereotype. More so look at it, what can you do to shift it for health reasons? You don't want to be eating fried chicken every day for health reasons. I mean, Popeyes, that stuff is not healthy on a regular basis. Okay, every once in a while, we all like a little junk food, right? But also we want to look at where we put our economic power behind. Again, that is a mental slavery, thinking that we have to put our financial power behind something that we feel ashamed of, so to speak. Because I know a lot of those people standing in that line felt ashamed too, but they were like, I don't even care. I'm going to give me some of that chicken. You saw them on the videos. So anyway, enough about that. Cassandra Myers, thanks for the wisdom. Shirley, yes, in full effect. Danny Stokes, cultural conditioning is still in full effect. Absolutely, but we do not have to partake of it. Our conscious mind is the first level to meet our subconscious mind. So when we encounter things that we know are enslaving our mental and emotional and spiritual, our conscious mind gives us the power to turn it off, to turn away, to not look, to not feed into that. Because the subconscious mind cannot block anything. It only receives. The conscious mind has the ability to form a barrier, to move us forward in action, to change, to shift the paradigm, to say no. Guard your mind. When they say guard your mind, they're talking about your subconscious mind. So Craig N. Smith says, tell them, sister, you make a perfect first lady. Thank you. I appreciate that. Linda Bussell, that part right there. Danny Stokes, I was not full citizen when I was born. I'm not ashamed of the stereotyping. Good. Don't be ashamed of it. Because you know what? At the end of the day, I'm going to hazard to say that stereotyping has nothing to do with us. That is their broken perceptions of things. They had to tell themselves those stories to justify what they were doing to us. They had to tell themselves those stories and dehumanize us to justify their demonic actions towards us. So let them have their stereotypes. We don't have to own them. We don't have to take them on. We don't even have to feel any kind of way about them. That's how you take the power out of it. That's how you free your subconscious mind and make a shift. I don't care what white people have to say about me. The word nigga has no dominion over me. None. Because I'm free to be who I want to be. And I offer that as a gift to you. We don't have to get upset every time somebody say something nappy-headed hoes or talk about our hair or anything like that. You know how you take the power out of that? By ignoring it. It's just so easy and simple that it almost seems like it doesn't work, right? But it does. I'm telling you, when you ignore things and you don't give energy to stereotypes, guess what? They die. If you don't share that video, like you guys remember the cucumber challenge? Thank you for not sharing that Black community. That did not go as viral as some people were hoping it would go. I didn't share it. A lot of other people didn't share it. And I'm only bringing it up and mentioning it here because that is a win for those of us who are freeing ourselves, especially the Black women, from being hypersexualized. If you saw it and you didn't like it, then don't share it. Don't even give it energy. Those people who are talking crazy about us, we don't even have to give them energy. We can just simply ignore them and stay focused on the goal of our own empowerment, our own freedom. Okay. Catherine Freeman says Willie Lynch. Yes, I know what you're talking about. Absolutely. There was a lot of, they said that's not real, but I don't know. If you look at how they laid everything out and where we were and where we are now, something was in place. some kind of set of rules was in place, some kind of an agreement, some conspiracy. Craig and Smith says, you're beautiful. That why they ask, they wish they can look like that. No, we know that's true because they're imitating every single thing we do. They all come from Black. Yes, we're the original people. Right on, sister, says Marissa Trimble. Change is mandatory. Getting the natural vitamin D. Tisha Smith says the sun is vitamin D and we need that. I'm 50 years old. Absolutely. And then we have Catherine Freeman says my woman was very light-skinned Black woman. And she stayed in the sun a lot with gardening. My mother's skin was the most beautiful of all women. I bet she was. And Marissa Trimble says air fly. Okay, I don't know what that means, but we're gonna keep going. So again, it's 2:22, so we have a few more minutes here. Let's get into what is the goal of the emotional emancipation circles, right? That's what we're doing right now. So with the Community Healing Network, at least back in 2015, she talked about, and I guess I probably cut it off before she talked about this, but they were talking about the emotional emancipation circles were created by the Community Healing Network, right? In conjunction with the Association of Black Psychologists. Now, this is a Black-Brown Alliance group, the Community Healing Network. I don't know when it happened that they infiltrated this group. There were some Hispanics there at the beginning. They show one of their founding members pictures, and they have a woman who went on, Karen, I want to say Karen Moss. That may not be correct. I didn't write her name down, but if you go to the Community Healing Network Incorporated's website, which is cocosouthlA.org, and you look up, I think Dr. Grills is the president now, if I'm not mistaken, of that particular organization. At some point, it became a Black-Brown Alliance, and I don't see that these groups, I don't know, I got to do a little bit more research, so don't quote me, and that's why I'm also encouraging you guys to do research, and we come back and we talk about how do we form these emotional emancipation circles. That's what we're doing right here, right now. Flying Nubian Queen is an emotional emancipation circle platform, right? We can come here and we can talk about all kinds of things, right? We got Vicky, we got some of the financial ladies, we have Boyce comes on here every once in a while, we have women showing each other and talking about hair, we have kids, we have a little bit of everything. That's what this is. We're supporting each other, right? Emotional emancipation circles. So this was created by the Community Healing Network in conjunction with the Association of Black Psychologists, which was headed by Dr. Cheryl Tawede Grills. And this was her mission, and that's what she talks about in that particular TED Talk. What is the goal? The goal is to engage a critical mass of Black people in the movement for emotional emancipation by 2019. They say when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. I'd never heard of this study before. And I went to do a little bit of research. Not a lot, because I don't do a lot of deep research. I get what I need and I bring it to you guys, because you know you can get into a procrastination mode with research and stuff. So I bring it to you, and I found her really quick. just today, as a matter of fact, as I was doing the last little bit of research. And this teacher appeared. That's right. Give it a thumbs up, the hearts, the likes, the shares. And she's saying that they started back in 2015 talking about they wanted people to form emotional emancipation circles. And that's what we have right here on the Deena Jacobs Live Show, as well as FlyNubianQueen.com network. They want this to happen by 2019, which is the 400-year anniversary of us being enslaved and brought to this nation. So by 2020, we will see ourselves in a whole new light. And that's what I am bringing to us. I am bringing mindset evolution, paradigm shifting. Let's remember, a paradigm is a set of habits that are programmed into the subconscious mind that control our behavior. So what are you going to do? You're going to ask yourself a couple of different things, right? But we're going to listen. We're going to take this out with Bob Proctor. His video, right? It's all about affirmations and self-talk. And we're going to get into that in part 2 of this series. In the meantime, strategies to shift your toughest paradigms. This is Bob Proctor.
They try and change everything under the sun, but they don't realize that if they're going to change the results, they have to change themselves. If they're going to change themselves, what part of themselves do they have to change? They have to change their subconscious conditioning. That's what they have to change. That is the paradigm.
The paradigm is what? What is the paradigm that we're changing? Black inferiority. We have to get rid of the chains of Black inferiority that resides in myself, that resides in you as individuals. And when we do that, we will automatically shift the mindset of the collective, the community. And it is our responsibility as women to nurture ourselves so that we may be able to nurture others.
Paradigm is nothing but a group of habits that are programmed into the subconscious mind that control our behavior. Now think of this. Your behavior causes your results. If you want to change the results, don't look outside of yourself.
If we want to change the results of how we are being treated and how we are being handled in this country, if we want to change the results and get our reparations, we first have to go inside and change it and shift it for ourselves. When we have Black people sitting up on Capitol Hill talking about they don't want any money, they don't deserve any money, that is, in my opinion, Black inferiority complex, mental and emotional slavery. A lot of us are walking around with that. Well, I don't know if we're going to get reparations today. We deserve it. Free yourself by owning the fact that we deserve to be rewarded, awarded, and compensated for what our ancestors went through and what we are still dealing with today. So what do we have to do? We have to shift our paradigm from going from inferior to superior. We have to shift our mindset from going from being people who were enslaved, feeling like slaves, to feeling free. We have to go from feeling unworthy and free ourselves from feelings of being unworthy. These are the paradigms. We have to stop acting in an unworthy way, ladies, so that we can be worthy and deserving of what we are due in terms of respect, love, care. From our men, from our community, from America, from society, and the world as a whole. We can only do that when we shift out of the place of unworthiness. Cut that check because I deserve it. I'm worth it. Okay? It's like that song. Go listen to that song if you need a little help. Meditate on that by the weekend. Girl, you earned it. You deserve it. You're worth it. That is us. We earned it. We deserve it because we're worth it. Okay? Go play that. Put that song on repeat, ladies. Let's listen to Bob.
Don't say it's the economy, it's the boss, it's my spouse, it's
Don't say it's white
It's
supremacy.
something inside, and it's called a paradigm.
It's a paradigm.
How do you change it? Well, first of all, you start out with the result you want to change. Let's say you want to get up on time. You're always sleeping in. That's a very simple result. A lot of people have a problem with. How do we do that? Well, we take a look at what causes us to sleep in. It's an idea in our subconscious mind that just keeps us hitting snooze, staying in bed, not getting out of bed. So I say, I want to change that result. Well, write out exactly the negative result that you're getting. I'm forever sleeping in. I'm always late. I never get up. I hit snooze when I set an alarm. Write that out.
What are the negative results that you're getting? What are we as a Black community getting negative results, right? We're getting negative results of being stereotyped, of being trapped, caught up in a trap, right? Whatever the negative results that you are seeing inside yourself, personal, but also I want you guys to do a little bit of extra work and get into those racial identity things. We need to get into our racial identity things because those are some of the things that could be holding us back also personally and professionally and in our love lives. Black women feeling unworthy. Well, we're the last people to get picked. No, that's BS. Why do you think we as a people are so mixed? We are desirable. We're beautiful women. In every sense of the word, we have to honor ourselves. What are the negative results that we are getting? Hypersexualization. Angry Black woman stereotypes. How do we shift that? Listen to Bob.
Then ask yourself, what is the polar opposite to that? And write it out in the present tense as an affirmation. I am so happy and grateful. Now that when I wake up, I get up. That's it. I am so happy and grateful. Now that when I wake up, I get up. And you write that out 100 times a day. I know your intellect, logic is going to tell you this is silly. It won't work. Well, you try it. Write out 100 times a day. I'm so happy and grateful now that when I wake up, I get up. And write that 100 times a day for about 30 days.
So what he's basically laying out for you is that old assignment you used to get when you would get in trouble in school, remember? And they wanted you to shift your behavior and they would make you write it out 100 times on the chalkboard. Y'all remember that? I know you do. Give it a thumbs up if you remember that one. You be up at the chalkboard writing, I will respect Mrs. Jones in class. I will be quiet. Remember that? That was for a reason. The reason being, that is how you shift yourself, your mindset, your paradigm. That's how you break the chains of slavery, mentally and emotionally. He's giving you the key, right? If you have a behavior that is causing you negative results, thoughtism, disrespecting yourself, looking in the mirror and talking about your hair as nappy, talking about you a double negative. I can't even say that term because it just doesn't fit into my mouth. Talking about you black and you ugly or whatever, like on some old silly type of stuff. What are the results of that type of thinking, which then reflects into your behavior to where you're going outside and you're fighting in the street over some Popeye's chicken or over some hair grease or whatever the case may be, over a deadbeat baby daddy? I know most of us in here are not like that, but what I'm saying is if you're looking at the results of that behavior, and I talked to one of my goddaughters about this, she shifted herself. I was like, you see where you are now. Think about how did you get here and who are the people in your life that enabled that, and then make some changes. And she did, and her life has turned around. Is she exactly where she wants to be? Is everything perfect? No, but she's in the right direction. And that's where we want to go, ladies. So what you're going to do is you look at what causes that behavior. Write out the negative result of your behavior. So usually what causes that negative behavior are thoughts and feelings that we're having, getting too emotional, having a lot of negative thoughts. Become aware of your self-talk. Write out the negative result of that behavior. And then think about the polar opposite. That's what he's saying. Think about that. The polar opposite of what we want. What do we want as Black women? We want respect, we want love, we want care, and we want our check. So if we want a check from the government, then dare I say that we need to be demanding that same type of financial support from our men, for our children. Correct? And bringing it even further back, we got to demand that we take care of ourselves financially. We got to get literate. Go to flynubianmoney.com and flynubianbusiness.com. Go learn about money. Go learn about business. You got to be smart when you get the check. When you're talking to, your baby daddy or your husband, and you guys are trying to set up the financial situation that's going to be best for your family, you have to have some awareness of that, right? So we're thinking about what's the negative outcome that we're getting versus the outcome, the positive outcome that we want. Let's listen to Bob again. We're almost done.
I'll guarantee you'll hit quit the snooze button. You know what you've done? You've programmed a new idea in your mind, and it takes over. The old idea dies for a lack of nourishment. You're not feeding it any longer. See, the old idea was a habit. You were in the habit of boom, hit the snooze button, stay in bed, go back to sleep. And what you've done is you've programmed in a new habit that's essentially the opposite to the old. The old dies for a lack of nourishment because you've kept feeding the new one. And write it out 100 times a day, present tense. I'm so happy and grateful now that when I wake up, I get up. And mentally see yourself. The second you wake up, your feet hit the deck, you stand up, you're out of bed, and then you stay out of bed. You give that a whirl. If it works for that, it'll work for everything. It'll work in sales. I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm in front of a real live prospect before 9 a.m. asking them to buy. Just the opposite to what's the other one. I'm not in front of prospects at all.
And so we're gonna end there. Again, I did put the links to these two videos up at the top of this video so you guys can check them out, because I know I kind of, inserted and injected different things in there. If you want to go listen to it, please, by all means, I encourage you to do that. So what we're talking about here is what he's saying. What's the negative thought that we have? White supremacy is in control of everything, and there's nothing we can do about it. How defeated is that? There's absolutely something that we can do about it. And those changes, those steps start within us. Before we can affect any change outside of us, we out here trying to convince white supremacists to love us and take care of us. They're not going to do that. Newsflash, they're not going to do that. We have to do it for us. So instead of always having the thought, and some of us, some of our leaders, some of our talkers can get very focused in on that, and we do need that. We need those people pointing certain things out to us. That's important, because sometimes you can get blinders on, right? So we need to know that certain things exist, certain traps, certain things are going on. So we know where to focus our positive energy on changing things and shifting things. But also, we want to make sure that we are not using that as a crutch, as a chain. You know how back in the day when people went to jail, they would chain a heavy ball to you? Sometimes that's what it feels like when we're talking about white supremacy, like we can't get away from it. Yes, we can. And the movement away from that and towards freedom first comes in here and then here. We have to shift our paradigms. And Bob is telling you, you have to set an affirmation and you have to write it 100 times in a day for 30 days. That's the solution. Try it. And I'm not talking about there's an end to white supremacy or anything like that. I'm talking about the shifts and changes that you can do to free yourself from the ideology, the belief of Black inferiority. Look inside yourself, because that is going to be the most powerful shift that we have as a community, is when we we cease and desist of thinking of ourselves as less than, as having no power, as having no resources, as a bunch of coons, a bunch of niggas, a bunch of sluts, a bunch of bitches. When we shift away from that, that is going to be our biggest, greatest, and most powerful chess move in this game. Shifting our mindset. The win only comes after the change in mindset. And so I'm going to leave you guys here. There will be a part 2 to this video. I know it did run almost 2 hours, and I thank you for those of you who hung in here. I appreciate you. I love you, and I empower you with all of my creative energy to know that I am a vessel. This is a message that is coming from, I feel, the Creator, the universe, God, the ether, whatever you want to call it. This is an idea whose time has come. This lady, Dr. Cheryl Tawede Girls, did this TED Talk in 2015 and said she wanted this to be implemented in the Black community all throughout of 2019, so that in 2020 we can see a definite, clear shift. Help us to get that done. Help yourself to get that done. We are moving towards getting what we are owed and reclaiming this country. This country is our country. We built it. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Please hit the subscribe, like, and share button. And please feel free to hit me up on @Deena Jacobs Flauntz. That's DEENA Jacobs, JACOBS FLAUNTS on Instagram, and DM me if you would like to see me discuss different topics. You have some ideas, you want to send me some news, things that are related to anything I've talked about here. I'd appreciate that. And also, I am accepting donations now. I'm doing a fundraiser on Facebook under my personal page, which is Jakarta Artists. That's DJAKARTA, DJAKARTA, and the word artist. Or if you want to send me $5, $10, $15, $20, $100, $1,000, $10,000, that would be a blessing, to help me to continue to do these videos and get them to you. And do a research, and eventually I'll have some merchandise coming up. Please feel free to hit me up on Cash App. I changed my name on Cash App. It is now the cash symbol, and Deena, DEENA, Jacobs, JACOBS. I love you guys so much. Thank you for being here. And I will not be doing a video this Sunday. I have an event. It's a 3-day weekend that I'll be having some fun at. I hope you guys are safe, relaxing weekend. I will see you next Sunday. Bye. Mwah.